Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from warm and sunny Kuwait, which is also known as the Pearl of the Gulf. My name is Olha Saheda. I am third secretary at the Embassy of Ukraine in the state of Kuwait, and I will be moderating today's meeting. Today is a really special day for us, since we are launching online workshop for investors and legal advisors under the title Simple and Secure Investment in Real Estate Sector in Ukraine. We have been working on this project for 4 long months, and today, during the next 1.5 hours, you will explore new investment possibilities for foreigners in Ukraine. Our distinguished partners and professionals from DLF Attorneys at Law and First Dnipro Investment Company have squeezed the most out of the precious and expert knowledge about real estate sector in Ukraine. And now they are presenting for your attention the following subjects. Why to invest in real estate in Ukraine? Which are legal procedures for foreigners in Ukraine for investing and buying real estate, and how you can use real estate in Ukraine? Now let me introduce our distinguished speakers from both Ukrainian and Kuwaiti sides in the order they will deliver their speeches. Mr. Dmytro Senik, Deputy Foreign Minister of Ukraine. Dr. Oleksandr Balanutsa, Ambassador of Ukraine to the State of Kuwait. Dr. Rashid Al-Adwani, Ambassador of the State of Kuwait to Ukraine. Ms. Wafa Al-Gaddami, Board Member of Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Mohammed Farjala, Founder and Editor-in-Chief of the information portal Ukraine in Arabic. And of course, our group of experts. The first one is represented by Mr. Igor Dikunsky, partner lawyer at DLF Attorneys at Law, and Ms. Christina Kharif, business development manager. And our second expert is Mr. Dmytro Kuzmenko, co-owner and development director at the First Dnipro Investment Company. Welcome on board. Dear colleagues, we will have questions and answer session after the experts' presentations. So you are most welcome to write your questions in the comment chat, and we will ask our distinguished speakers to highlight your questions after the presentations at the end of the meeting. We know that many of you have already sent us some of the questions while registering for participation in today's meeting. So I believe that our speakers from DLF Attorneys at Law and First Dnipro Investment Company will highlight it during their presentations. And as one famous proverb says, رحلة الألف ميل تبدأ بخطوة واحدة, or a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So let's start and make this step together. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Mr. Dmytro Senik, Deputy Foreign Minister of Ukraine, whose continuous support of the embassy's activities makes a great contribution to the development of the bilateral relations between our friendly countries, Ukraine and Kuwait, in numerous fields, in particular in economic ties. And now I kindly invite Ms. Wafa Al-Gaddami, Board Member of Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Ms. Wafa, you're most welcome to share with us your professional opinion.
Good. Distinguished participant, His Excellency Mr. Singh, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, His Excellency Dr. Rashid Al-Adwani, Ambassador of the State of Kuwait to Ukraine, His Excellency Dr. Oleksandr Balanutsa, Ambassador of Ukraine to the State of Kuwait. On behalf of the Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I would like to express my pleasure to hold this online workshop, which aims to open a new horizon in our mutual economic relationship, wishing all the success to achieve its objectives. I am sure these events will contribute to both the bilateral business relationship of our friendly countries, giving ample opportunity to know more about the business and the investment environment in Ukraine, especially in the real estate sector. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that the Ukrainian-Kuwaiti relation dating back to 1993 and have deepened gradually, thanks to the effort of both governments of Kuwait and Ukraine, by signing agreements, especially in the area of avoiding double taxation, preventing financial evasion, and implementing mutual protection of investment between the two countries. On this occasion, I am pleased to shed light on the recently signed Memorandum of Understanding between Kuwait Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Council of Exports and Investors under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, which affirms the real desire of both sides to cooperate and move further in the bilateral ties. Thus, KCCI, as representative of the private sector, feels the responsibility to contribute in fulfilling and strengthening this relationship and transfer it to broader levels. As the latest statistics show, the volume of bilateral trade exchange has witnessed a notable increase in the past few years to reach US $52 million in 2019. We are aware of the remarkable progress which Ukraine has achieved in terms of enhancing the business environment as we confirm the capabilities of the Kuwaiti private sector with its board experience and abundant financial liquidity to comprehend the available investment opportunities in Ukraine. In conclusion, I appreciate your presence with us today in this workshop, which I am sure will be fruitful for both of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wafa, for sharing your ideas. I guess we're all pleased to listen to your insightful presentation. And now I would like to invite Dr. Oleksandr Balanutsa, Ambassador of Ukraine to the State of Kuwait, to enlighten us more about today's online meeting and its highly practical purpose. Dr. Oleksandr, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Ms. Olga. I hope you can hear me well. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear Deputy Foreign Minister of Ukraine, Mr. Senik, Dr. Rashid Al-Adwani, Your Excellency, Madam Wafa, and the greatest team of the Kuwait Chamber of Commerce with Ahmad Al-Zaid. Everybody is doing the greatest job. Thank you so much for having us today. Distinguished guests and esteemed speakers. We have more than 60 people as of now, and we can see our friends from different countries like Kuwait and United Arab Emirates and Jordan, and we can see Kyiv, Odesa, Kharkiv, Dnipro, Lviv, which means that we're really going global and virtual. There are many friends that know me personally, and they know how we live and we deal with our hearts on how to present, protect, and promote Ukraine. Thank you very much for your interest and for your efforts to join us today. Ukraine can deliver the best in many spheres. In cooperation and with support of Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, and namely with the Council of Exporters and Importers and Investors of Ukraine, which is chaired by Deputy Foreign Minister Dmitry Senik, we select and pick those spheres that have the highest mutual interest. We've already covered some food security issues. We've covered some exclusively agricultural exports. We have already covered some IT and financial technologies market. And today we are offering you something which we believe has the utmost importance, is our real estate. The market of real estate in Ukraine is soaring, is growing, is attractive, and it is protected. Today we will get to you the best of up-to-date information, new offers, and some new ideas to explore. Those who have found time today to join us will definitely enjoy and will get the outcome, the fruitful outcome of this result, because at the end of the day, we will comprise and will collect all the information we have received with the help of the Kuwait Chamber of Commerce, those companies which are interested to participate, to our partners, DLF Attorneys at Law and First Dnipro Investment Corporation, We will provide as a gift the contact details of all those companies which are dealing with this, so that you can directly deal with them after that. And those friends who joined us today, believe me, you will open up a book of Ukraine, which will be very, very entertaining in all the fields. I'm very happy that I represent my lovely country of Ukraine in the state of Kuwait, since I have faced so hospitable and generous attitude from all the participants, of all the members, and especially my colleague, Dr. Rashid Aladwani in Kyiv, who is being a bridge to all our events. And I cannot but mention once again the great team of Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Zain, using this opportunity, I would like to thank you personally for being with me all the time on all our events, our initiatives, and your greatest team. Thank you very much, and enjoy the wonderful day.
Thank you, Dr. Oleksandr, for your comprehensive and inspiring speech. Without any doubts, nothing is impossible as long as we have the will to act. And now I would like to call Dr. Rashid Aladwani, Ambassador of the State of Kuwait to Ukraine, whose diplomatic experience and profound knowledge of Ukraine open new horizons for bilateral cooperation between Ukraine and Kuwait. Dr. Rashid, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Mrs. Wafa Al-Khatami, a member of Chamber Commerce and Industry of State of Kuwait, and my friend, Your Excellency, Dmitry Senik, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Your Excellency, Ambassador Oleksandr Balanutsa, distinguished guests, thank you to have me here. I would like to thank, first of all, Mr. Ambassador Oleksandr for his effort, and he is trying to enhance the relationship between Kuwait and Ukraine. I would like to mention about our subject today about real estate. I want to say there is very good opportunity for investor in Ukraine in this regard. I would like to mention also in Ukraine, and now is booming country, and they will try. We saw many of our projects, especially in real estate, and there is good opportunity for investment and for renting also. But I will be, as cooperate from Kuwait Embassy, I will advise all investors from Kuwait to be contact with the embassy, and will be provide for them all through the knowledge of the all what they needed from document, and what needed to about the law in Ukraine, to be contacting with the lawyers, because Ukraine, as many countries, but some part of a project is not going through, but mainly the projects is going through, and there is a very good opportunity for business for investors. I would like to mention we are as the embassy, and we as for cooperation with the Chamber of Trade of Kuwait. I would like to thank them, and we are ready to enhance the relationship, and we are ready for any call or advice or from our side. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Rashid, thank you very much for delivering such a gracious speech. I kindly invite Mr. Muhammad Farajallah, founder and editor-in-chief of the information portal Ukraine in Arabic, to give us a professional overview as a media expert and truly gifted journalist. Mr. Muhammad, أهلا وسهلا بكم.
أهلا وسهلا بكم. السلام عليكم. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Senik, Deputy of Foreign Minister of Ukraine, and Mr. Ambassador of Ukraine in Kuwait, Dr. Oleksandr Balanutsa, and my friend and Ambassador of Kuwait in Ukraine, Mr. Dr. Rashid Aladwani, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for invitation, and I hope to success to this conference. And I want to say we are working in Ukraine Arabic information portal. Now is the 9 years, and the parts of news about Ukraine and Kuwait, it is grown more and more. And when Mr. Ambassador Oleksandr Balanutsa have been new ambassador of Ukraine in Kuwait, we have a lot of positive and good information about these relations. And I can see every week we have a news about the relations of two countries. We, of course, we can to support any of the works, any projects to apply the information of two countries. And I hope and I believe of Ukraine and Arabic words is very good friends and partners. السلام عليكم السادة الكرام، ممثلي الغرفة التجارية الكويتية، ممثلي وزارة الخارجية الأوكرانية، وممثلي السفارة وسعادة السفير الكويت في أوكرانيا الدكتورة شعدواني، وسعادة سفير دولة أوكرانيا في الكويت دكتور ألكسندر بلانوتسا. اسمحوا لي أن أحييكم باللغة العربية من العاصمة الأوكرانية كييف، وأحييكم باسم أوكرانيا بالعربية. نحن نعمل منذ 9 سنوات على رقي وتطوير العلاقات العربية الأوكرانية، ومن الملحوظ جدا أنه هنالك كتابنا الفرعي أخبار أوكرانيا والكويت بات ينمو بكل قوة وبكل نشاط منذ قدوم سعادة السفير أولكسندر بلانوتسا، وهذا يؤكد على الرغبة الحقيقية الأوكرانية في التطوير العلاقة مع الكويت. أنا واثق بأن الكويتيون سيجدون في أوكرانيا كل ما يبحثون عنه، سواء في العلاج، سواء في الاستثمارات، وفي غير ذلك. وأنا واثق بأن أوكرانيا سوف تجد في الكويت كل الدعم. راقبنا منذ أيام إبرام اتفاقية تعاون بين مجلس المستثمرين لوزارة الخارجية الأوكرانية وغرفة التجارة الكويتية، وهذا يسعدنا. كذلك دعوة سعادة سفير أوكرانيا الكويت الانضمام إلى منصة القرم، وهذا أمر أعتقد بأنه يجب أن يؤخذ بعين الحسبان. فكما أن الكويت أوكرانيا تدعم وحدة وسلامة أراضي التراب الكويتي كاملا وتشاطرها كل أحزانها وكل أفراحها، نأمل بأن تكون الكويت كذلك فيما يخص موضوع القرم وباقي الأقصى المواضيع. أوكرانيا بالعربية في خدمتكم، مستعدون للتعاون، تقديم الدراسات والخبرة وتغطية الأخبار وكل ما ستجدونه يفيدكم. شكرا لكم وشكرا سيدة أولغا على هذه الفرصة. Thank you Miss Olga. وشكرا سعادة السفير على الدعوة الكريمة وهذه الفرصة الطيبة. شكرا لكم.
I cannot but compliment you, Mr. Mohammed, on your truly interesting speech. And now we shall move to the second practical part of our today's meeting. But before I invite the next speaker, let me remind you, dear participants, that you can write your questions in the comment chat so we could address it to the speakers at the end of the meeting. My pleasure to invite Mr. Igor Mikulski, partner, lawyer at DLF Attorneys at Law, and Ms. Christina Kharif, business development manager, to present a very important piece of information on simple and secure investment in Ukraine. Mr. Igor?
Olga, thank you for your introduction. We are really happy to see so many participants on this forum. It means there are a lot of investors considering buying Ukrainian real estate. And today we will speak about the simple and I would say secure, it's really secure, real estate in Ukraine. And my colleague, Christina, will speak on this topic.
Once again, I would like to thank the organizers, the distinguished guests of the event, and our audience, all the participants that found the time to join us today. And now let's discuss the presentation itself. I will now share the screen for you to see the presentation. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
And now we should go full screen. Just use a bit of a lag. now the presentation should be visible, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So why is it worth investing in Ukraine? Well, first of all, this notion of passive income has become popular, I guess, in the recent time. But when it comes to investing in real estate, it is actually an option, because with minimal engagement, minimal involvement of the investor, provided that everything is structured properly, they can receive profit and devote their time to the other key areas of their life, like their family, their main occupation, building their business, or improving health, and so on, while at the same time generating profits from property that they buy in Ukraine. Real estate market offers high return on investment, as you can see on this slide. Of course, this figure varies greatly from project to project. Is everything okay with the sound? Because I've heard an echo. Everything is fine, correct? Sorry. So the figure, but in you can reach 15 up to 20%, provided that the project is entered at an earlier stage. Also, the real estate market in was affected by the, and the prices are lower than they used to be before pandemic, before COVID, and it hasn't recovered yet. So it is now a great time to invest and seek opportunities. Additionally, if an investor decides to rent real estate, first payment can be received in as little as 1 month. So it's quite a fast procedure, and you can start receiving benefits pretty fast. Contrary to the general belief, the procedure for acquisition of real estate is not complex, and it's rather simple. We will talk about it in one of the next slides. And there is no need to come to Ukraine to purchase real estate. Yeah, this can be done from home. But if you want to rent, there are some procedures for which personal presence is required, such as obtaining residence permit in Ukraine. And in such case, you would have to come to Ukraine. And it's in this case, it's highly beneficial that that at the moment, as you probably know, Kuwaiti citizens do not require visa to travel to Ukraine. And currently, our borders are open for foreigners, so you can travel to visit the prospect property, or if, of course, if you choose so, or later on to stay in the property you purchase. Now let's move on to the next slide. So, what is the procedure for a real estate acquisition? In general, it is comprised of several steps. Everything starts with granting power of attorneys. This can be issued in Ukraine or in your country of residence, in Kuwait or otherwise, because as I noticed, we have participants from other countries as well, from the Gulf region, and possibly some other countries. So this can be done at home, and provided that such power of attorney is then legalized and apostilled. And we can start with the procedure of obtaining a taxpayer registration number in Ukraine. And at the same time, once the property is selected, due diligence process can start. During the due diligence process, we verify the property, we check the property, we check the seller, the owner, the developer, all the agreements regarding the property, or all the documents, to make sure that there are no risks for the investors if they decide to purchase this particular real estate object. If no risks have been revealed, then real estate appraisal is arranged. This is a standard, pretty straightforward procedure. It takes 1 to 2 working days. And after this, the agreement, this sales and purchase agreement, can be signed, and the money is transferred to the bank account of the seller. This is how we recommend to do it. This is the most secure way of doing it, because some sellers will say that they want to receive payment in cash, but this is something we do not recommend. And this can be, well, there are ways of dealing with sellers, and making it as secure as possible for our client. And when the funds are transferred, the notary will then enter in the state register of immovable property and transfer the ownership title to the investor. So after you buy your property in Ukraine, how can you use it? You can rent it to start generating profit, long-term, short-term, based on your preferences. You can use it to stay in Ukraine as a vacation home. You probably know that we don't have such extreme weather conditions in summer here. So a home in Ukraine could be a great getaway from the heat, from the heat that there is in the Gulf region. And here the temperatures are much more convenient. And staying in Ukraine, you can use this time for recreation, for discovering new places. Ukraine has a lot to offer the tourists that can be quite exotic when it comes to the Carpathians, for example. And also we have great medical recreational facilities that are held in high esteem for the standards of their services. Some of our clients, having bought several properties, they decide to start a business in Ukraine. It can be rental business, recreational, medical tourism, so finding more people who are interested in traveling to Ukraine. And of course, the final option is reselling the property once their prices go up. In our experience, and also judging from the questions that we have received from the participants of this forum, of this workshop, renting property in Ukraine is the most common option. And here we have three ways of renting property in Ukraine. It can be rented through establishing a limited liability company. It can be rented when a foreigner registers as a private entrepreneur or engages a servicing company. Renting property in Ukraine. So in case of establishment of a limited liability company, the procedure takes up to 2 weeks, and after this, the real estate object can be purchased, and the property is registered under the LLC. The key advantage, one of the key advantage of this option is that provided that the investment is equals or is higher to $100,000, an investor can receive a permanent residence permit for 10 years, upon which it's easy to renew such a permit, and the procedure is very simple. And of limited liability, as the company name suggests, and also there are no restrictions as to the total area and number of apartments that can be rented this way. So now, this option takes a bit less, up to 10 days, and also you can save some time if that's something you're looking to do, because real estate object can be chosen and checked, verified. The due diligence can start still before or like at the same time as the foreigner registered as a private entrepreneur. There are some marks. I'm not sure how they appear on the presentation. I hope it's not causing any problems for our audience. The registering as a private entrepreneur is the legal grounds for obtaining a temporary residence permit that is valid for 1 year. And once again, it's easy to renew such a residence permit. And however, we have a restriction here that the total area of residential real estate is not only, but it is limited to 400 square meters. On the other hand, this option provides for minimal cost. The state duties are low, and also the lower taxes, which are just 5% under the simplified tax system. There's the third option that was mentioned before, that is involving a servicing company. Such a company, such a legal entity to be found in Ukraine, would then act as a tax agent for the foreigner in Ukraine, and this way, the company, after signing an agreement with the foreigner, the company can undertake dealing with the tenants, receiving rental payments, and also sending those payments then later on to the owner. What are the key investment options in Ukraine? In general, there are two key options. The investor, based on his or her preferences, or also the preferred time frames, they can decide to invest in a project under construction or a finished project. As always, there are pros and cons to both options. In case of a project under construction, the return on investment will be higher. As mentioned before, it can reach up to 15–20% if you enter the project on an earlier stage and the prices are lower. However, at the same time, you won't be able to rent such a property if you choose to until the whole complex is commissioned, and it might take several years. When it comes to finished projects, you can buy finished projects, finished property or apartments, also furnished properties, and in this case, they are ready for rent. Sometimes, maybe if you choose a property on the secondary market, then some renovation might be required, but if it's a new building and it's furnished, then you can just purchase and start renting pretty much right away. And in both cases, you can engage property management companies, and they will then undertake the maintenance and of those properties and ensure that your minimal involvement in this case. This is the end of the presentation. We tried to not make it too complex and not to provide you with technicalities. However, there are still some things to mention. So as you noticed, currently in Ukraine, there is no way, the legislation does not provide for a way for foreigners to directly rent their property in Ukraine unless they register as a private entrepreneur, open a company, or engage some third parties. However, lately there have been some discussions as to the possibility of adopting such a law that will enable the direct renting of properties. We are hopeful. We have seen many steps to encourage investors taken lately, and we hope that we will see such a law within the next several months, perhaps up to 6 months. But sure enough, we cannot guarantee this, but we would be happy to keep you informed. And should there be any developments in this area, we will let you know, the participants today. We will have your contact details, and if that's something you are interested in, we can contact you and notify that there has been some progress, and now the procedure has been simplified. It's important to find, when entering a new market, it's important to find a reliable partner, and we hope if you choose to purchase real estate in Ukraine, we can be a partner for you. And we aim at minimizing risks, finding the best opportunities, the best investment conditions for our clients, and also just help create more and more success stories of foreign investors in Ukraine, and facilitate the cooperation between our countries. If you have any questions, these can be addressed in the Q&A session. We are ready to answer all of the questions, and perhaps go in deep on some of the points of some of the notions expressed in the presentation. And you can always contact us at the details given here. We will also send the presentation in the chat. And now for you to familiarize you, to get you to know the Ukrainian market, we would like to show you some video, a video of a project, a real estate project in Ukraine. And well, sure enough, there is a great variety of projects that will be interesting to different investors. We selected one I will show you now. That is the development company is popular with our clients. This is why we know we can recommend them, and also they provide for minimal involvement and good return on investment. So basically checking all the boxes for the investors. So we would like to now show you the presentation. I will share the screen again in a minute.
Ukraine, a crossroads of important transport arteries in Europe and Asia, a country of great opportunities. People. Kyiv is the business center of the country, the leading IT cluster in Eastern Europe. Thousands of new startups and businesses every year. Millions of tourists from around the world. Events of international scale. Kyiv, the seventh city in Europe in terms of population. Due to rapid development, real estate prices in the capital are rising up to 14% annually. Real estate prices in Kyiv are growing faster than in London, Miami, Moscow and Berlin. Construction holding KDD Ukraine is a trendsetter among development companies in Ukraine. Since 2003, we have been building residential complexes, office and shopping centers of business and premium class. We create complete solutions from project to realization.
We created the Standard One brand, which develops the unique investment product on the apartment rental market. Concept, design, marketing are targeted on the one goal. We strive to provide investors with a cash flow. Standard One apartments will generate income for their owners all the time. Functional interiors, developed infrastructure, hotel service 24 hours a day, and mobile application to manage your property. The first residential facility from Standard One has been already commissioned and rented. All apartments were bought before the construction was completed, and more than 30% were bought by foreign investors from all over the world.
We are already creating two similar facilities in Kyiv, so there is an opportunity to invest profitably in the early stages of construction. We have launched a new format of real estate investment, Apart Hotel S1 Terminal. The project is the maximum comfort for the investor. The management company manages the facility and works with guests. Location in the heart of Kyiv at the intersection of major transport hubs. Railway station, airport, subway. Spacious rooms with finished business class renovations and a kitchen. A combination of daily and medium-term rent. Income does not depend on the operation of a particular apartment and is distributed from the profits of the entire hotel. Developed infrastructure for work and life, co-working, gym, restaurant, spa. Investing in S1 Terminal is a stable source of passive income without the headache of renting business.
Okay, so this was the first video, and we would like to also show, since there are a lot of projects available in Kyiv, but to attract attention to some other parts of Ukraine, namely to Odesa, we will show you a video of a different different project, and it's close to Odesa. And yeah.
Was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through color glass.
So these are two very different objects of real estate. As you can see, the one in Odesa region is not, the territory is not so well developed as in the Gulf region, but at the same time, it provides for an opportunity because at this stage, there is not much constructed there, and there's a chance for the investors to transform the view of the marina of the Odesa, and yeah, and this way build their own business and invest in Ukraine. There are other projects. The projects we will, to save the time, we will send the links to the chat so you can get acquainted with them and see what other properties are available in Ukraine. But there are a lot of them, and yeah, you will like the market when you see some other options available. So that's it. I thank you for your attention, and thank you for being with us, for having us, and I think we can move on to the next speaker.
Mr. Ihar, Ms. Christina, thank you very much. Actually, let me thank you on behalf of our guests and participants for this highly useful information. I have no doubts that your very well structured and insightful presentation will serve as an excellent guide for Kuwaiti investors in Ukrainian real estate sector. I mean, it was really interactive because I noticed that some of our guests and participants have been even developing their drawing skills, adding some lines to your presentation. Anyway, I believe that our registered participants will receive your presentation, the PDF file, afterwards, so they will be able to study it closer and make the right decision, which is investing in Ukraine with DLF attorneys at law. And dear friends, don't forget to send us your questions in the comment chat, and we will address it to the speakers at the end of the meeting. And in the meanwhile, my pleasure to invite Mr. Dmytro Kuzmenko, who is co-owner and development director at the First Dnipro Investment Company, to deliver a speech on the experience of implementation of real estate projects in Ukraine, as well as feasibility study and investment. Mr. Dmytro, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Olga. And I'd like to thank Your Excellency, Dr. Balanutsa. I'd like to thank Kuwait Chamber of Commerce for the possibility to present my projects and my company among such a respected audience. So I'd like to start my presentation. Hope you see it. So a few words about First Dnipro Investment Company. We are on the real estate market since 2004. Over 150,000 square meters were built since that time, and we put over $80 million of own investment in our project. Great experience and no credit obligations at all. These two key facts that I'd like you to know about our company. Now we have three projects, three current projects. It's a different type of real estate. It's a place for living, place for working, and place for recreation, for rest. In the field of residential property, it's a cherry village with the villas on the lakes in a beautiful place. In a hotel property, it's a Wish Aqua and Spa Resort it's a luxury hotel with 40 rooms and wide range of wellness and medical services, and office building in Kyiv called Crystal. I'd like to mention that all these three projects are already completed and working as a business and generating income. So it's not just an ideas or pictures. And our company is 100% owner of all these three objects. I'd like to share my opinion or my ideas about why now is the best time to invest in Ukrainian real estate. Of course, COVID-19, it's a misfortune, but we also looking for the positive aspects in this situation, and we already have it, because, for example, we have here in Kyiv region, we have significant increase in demand in suburban real estate. Of course, nobody wants to spend the quarantine in the uncomfortable conditions, so suburban real estate is very demandable now, up to 200% in 2020, increasing of the demand, and especially in the segment of rent of suburban houses. It's a very interesting and very good situation for investments, because high demand and lack of offers in this segment give the perfect situation for an investor. Of course, I should also note the efforts of Ukrainian government to protect foreign investors and to facilitate the entry of foreign investors into Ukrainian markets. It concerns both the relevant legislation and institution of an investment nanny and liberalization of financial and currency laws, etc. Last but not least, of course, it's an opportunity to obtain a residence permit with the investment over $100,000. So based on the current market trends, we offer several investment options. First, it's villas in Cherry Village. Cherry Village, it's a beautiful place, 30 kilometers from the Kyiv downtown and 15 kilometers from international airport. Ecologically clean place with clean air, near the lakes, near the river Dnieper, with the guarded territory, with the maintenance company, which carrying out of all kind of utility services. And outstanding feature of each villa that there is a pure drinking water supplied in each villa from the depths of 250 meters. It's a Jurassic layer of water. We invite for investor to purchase the villa and to bring it to a finished state with the decoration and furniture. And then the new owner can rent it out with our help and get 12% return on investment, and or he could resell it with over 20% of return on investment in this case. A second option, it's our recreation complex Wish Aqua and Spa Resort. It's a unique place with the hotel. Now there are 40 rooms, and there are spa area, fitness, restaurant, medical center, etc. About 12,000 square meters of buildings and about 25,000 square meters of territory. This is the volume of all complex. And we also use mineral water in Wish Aqua and Spa Resort, in swimming pools, in treatments, in spa procedures, and so on. We have for this year, we have a renovation plan for this complex to increase quantity of hotel rooms and add 40 more. The investment required about $4 million US, and we offer to for investor to participate in this renovation under a co-investment agreement, and the investor could expect not less than 15% return on investment through the hotel income in this case. And the third option, it's office building. It's existing and working business with the tenants, with the long-term rent agreements. Very good location near the direct highway to the international airport. And outstanding feature of this building is a heating pump system which highest standards of energy saving and energy efficiency. Now offices are rented for Ukrainian and international companies with long-term contract SSA. So the cost of this operating business, including land and building, is $15 million, and investor will get not less than 12% return on investment through rental income. I'd like to know that our company will be glad to be your partner in Ukraine. We offer you to enter in already existing businesses, and we offer you transparent and legal cooperation, and we offer you full support, including every question that can arise here in Ukraine. We already have a lot of successful experience or successful examples to work with investors from Gulf countries. For example, a recent example is purchasing villa by the citizen of United Arab Emirates, and we help and we support him all the way until he obtain all necessary documents and until he start to live in his new villa. So I'd like to show you a short video review of our projects. So thank you very much for your attention. Dear participants, there are my contacts in the presentation. I will share it for you, and I will be glad to cooperate with potential investors. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dmytro, I wish to express you my heartfelt thanks for your thought-provoking presentation. It was a really professional overview, which would definitely help Kuwaiti businessmen to find the best option to invest in the Ukrainian real estate sector. Well, as for now, we have listened to high-level professionals working for years in the Ukrainian real estate sector. And I guess they gave us a complete image of how can our countries benefit from mutual cooperation in different real estate projects. Since our workshop is coming to an end, it's time for questions now. And here is the first question received from you via chat, and I guess it's addressed to DLF. Could you briefly tell about how much time does it take for proceeders to buy a residential property in Ukraine? Should I repeat the question? Who would like to take the floor to give an answer? Mr. Igor, Mr. Dmytro?
Can you hear us now?
Okay.
I guess there were some issues with the microphone. You can hear us now, yeah?
Yeah, great, we can hear you.
Dear participants, thank you for your questions. We have seen there are a lot of them, and I would suggest that we will try to answer all of your questions today. However, we have a lot of information on our website, especially related to citizenship in Ukraine. We saw there are some questions in the chat. We have a lot of information related to purchasing, buying real estate in Ukraine. We have already prepared a summary about the mentioned law on support of large investors in Ukraine. Mr. Senik mentioned this law. You can find all the information on our website, and we would be happy to send you all the links. We have already started sending links to all that information on our website. And should we not be able to answer all the questions today, we will be happy to communicate with you via email or by phone. Yeah.
Oh, WhatsApp.
Yeah, or WhatsApp. Yeah, we have all your contacts, and I hope you have noticed our contact, and we will try to answer all your questions. And now to your question about the time period, of a new project. It's difficult to estimate at the moment, but in general, we can say that it will take maybe 2-3 years, starting from the beginning of the building, construction of the building. And it depends if the apartment will be already renovated or without a renovation. In Ukraine, it's typically that maybe the majority of projects are not constructed, not renovated, and the owner of the apartment will renovate the apartment. As to the time period of buying, purchasing real estate in Ukraine, it is really simple. And if an individual buy an apartment, he first or she first has to obtain a tax number in Ukraine. And during this time, we can start checking, analyzing, and performing legal due diligence. And when we are talking about the starting of the procedure and the finishing of the buying procedure, it usually takes 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks. In that case, the foreigner is already registered as an owner of the apartment.
So if I may add, the procedure is pretty straightforward, but it can sometimes depend on the communication with the seller and also communication with the investor. If there are some issues that have to be cleared, this might take additional time, but in general, it can take as little as 2-3 weeks. Yeah, if the property selection and due diligence and everything. So on our part, we do everything in the shortest terms possible. Due diligence takes up to several days. Obtaining tax registration number takes up to 5 work days, and appraisal just 1 or 2 work days. But there can be some obstacles on the part of the seller, communication, discussing how the deal should be structured, and this might take additional time. This is why we would say like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah, about that. That would be the time frame in general.
Thank you very much. And the second question is addressed to Mr. Dmytro, Dnipro Investment Company. How COVID-19 pandemic influenced the real estate market in Ukraine?
I describe the infection of COVID on the main trends. To my opinion, it's a growing demand in suburban real estate and growing demand in commercial property with the spa and recreation services. It's 2 main trends, as my opinion, which influenced by pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Dmytro. And the next question is addressed to DLF. Tell us, please, about the safe way to transfer money for buying own real estate in Ukraine.
In that case, we suggest that all the transfers are made through the so-called investment bank account in Ukraine. It means the individual, the foreigner, opens an investment bank account in Ukraine, and there are a lot of international banks in Ukraine. We can recommend some of them, and the foreigner first transfers the money from Kuwait to this investment bank account in Ukraine, and after that the money will be transferred to the bank account of the seller.
Thank you very much. And one more question to First Dnipro Investment Company. Will your company invest own money in real estate projects which you are going to develop?
In any case, in any scenario, we already start the investment program of this year. We invest in first step is investment in our recreation complex because it's very demandable now.
Thank you very much. And the next question is addressed, I think, to both DLF and FDIC. Buying an apartment in Ukraine doesn't give residency for foreigner if the budget was less than $100,000. And should I ask for visa every time I visit Ukraine, or can I get a residence permit in Ukraine? Does a Syrian citizen has the right to invest and own real estate in Ukraine?
I will try to answer this question. I think there are 2 questions. Maybe I should start with the Syrian citizenship. It's really difficult. It's really difficult in Ukraine to help Syrian people because there are some requirements from Ukrainian banks, and in our experience, it should be checked in every in any case, yeah. Because in that case, we have to check it in every case. And as to and the first part of the question was about the visa requirements. In that case, want or is not willing to invest $100,000 in Ukrainian economy, we suggest to obtain a temporary residence permit up to 3 years. In that case, the foreigner has to be registered here in Ukraine as a private entrepreneur and or can establish a Ukrainian company. And it's possible to apply for a temporary residence permit for up to 3 years, and it is renewable. You can renew this permit.
Thank you very much. The next question is addressed to HDAC. Can we have a sample sheet of the prices of apartments at the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv?
Among our projects, there are no apartments in Kyiv, but average prices of capital apartments is around 800 to $1,500 per square meter.
Thank you very much. The next question is addressed to DLF, but it's quite long, so maybe I will repeat it twice. Can foreigners invest in agriculture in Ukraine or real estate only? The second question is, can foreigners buy land in Ukraine for agriculture or building? I think to implement this type of investment on the ground, coordination must be made between Ukrainian companies and Kuwaiti and Middle Eastern companies to work on showing Ukraine's position on the global investment map and marketing it. So what are the ways to implement that?
Once again, the first question, can I?
Okay, can foreigners invest in agriculture in Ukraine or real estate only?
Foreigners they have the same opportunities pretty much as Ukrainian citizens, and they can choose the industry that they would like to invest. It doesn't have to be limited to real estate. Agriculture is a very popular area when it comes to foreign investment, and there are projects that you can invest here. There are also foreign companies engaged in agriculture in Ukraine, represented in Ukraine. So by all means, there are projects available, and we would be very happy to see you among the new investors in Ukrainian agriculture. As to the other question, when it comes to lands of agricultural use, currently they cannot be bought by foreign citizens. There is a possibility that the land market of Ukraine will be open later. We had a law on the law market not so long ago, but only after a relevant decision of the Ukrainian people on a nationwide referendum. So until then, foreigners cannot purchase real estate land, but there's always an option of a long-term lease. That's 49 years. And the business people who rent the land, they then receive this priority right to purchase the land. So if you come to Ukraine to do business in Ukraine, you pick an area that works for you with great land, with great location, and you start leasing it. And then hopefully the Ukrainian land market will open, and you will have the priority to buy this land as a entity leasing it and using it. So this is a chance, because if you just wait till the time then the land market is open, I'm afraid there might not be that much land available, or you will have to find lands in different areas of Ukraine, which is not so convenient. So, but otherwise, Ukrainian agriculture provides for a lot of opportunities, and yeah, also technical development, and this mixture of IT and agriculture. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Christina. Actually, we have one more question for you from our guests. Could you tell us more about risk of raiders' attacks on properties in Ukraine?
Yes, I think I wouldn't say this problem, but sometimes it happens, and we suggest our clients, especially new clients, always to cooperate with reliable lawyers and with reliable partners. And we can ensure you that if you do everything correctly from the beginning in Ukraine, you will be protected. And it's possible, really. Like we can say, it's really possible. We have a lot of inquiries, and when it comes to that kind of radar attacks, but when we analyze it and we understand that the client who came to us, for example, 1 week or 1 month ago, was not prepared 2 or 3 years ago, and and didn't pay time for some legal issues. And in that case, of course, the risk is bigger.
So the thing is to address all potential issues beforehand and not wait for some problems and then contact lawyers and try to figure it out. If you construct your business from the very start with reliable partners and lawyers in Ukraine, then these problems can be avoided. When it comes to residential property, it also should be mentioned that we have some services that enable you to track the status of your real estate in Ukraine. That's like, there's an app, you can pay for the subscription. It's pretty simple, and you get notifications should there be any actions regarding your property. And then you can take appropriate action to protect your property. And there have been some other developments in our Ministry of Digital Transformation and to protect from raider attacks. So we're moving in the right direction, and yeah, you can avoid such issues provided that you think about them in advance.
Yeah, absolutely agree with my colleagues. Good partner and legal right way to do your business equal to absence of problems.
Thank you very much. The next question is addressed to DLF company. Is it possible to buy real estate in Ukraine without law firm? What is the difference if we buy direct or buy through law company?
It depends and the client or the individual decides it. And we have, by the way, we have here under our participants, we have clients who bought real estate in Ukraine by themselves, and then came to us to answer some additional questions. But if you would like to have everything done smooth and without problem, I would suggest in that case to engage a law firm, or if you are interested in bigger projects like S1 or Dnipro, our colleagues Dmitro, you have to find a reliable partner, because in Ukraine it's really important. It's our suggestion. Yeah, to first of all, you have to spend time to Ukraine. Yeah, it's really important. And the other suggestion from our side is to have a reliable partner, including a law firm.
If I may add, so if you feel comfortable enough to go through all the agreements by yourself, maybe you have some competence in law and you feel comfortable checking all the agreements, perhaps also trying to check the property, then I guess it is possible to do this without a law firm. But without performing a due diligence, there's always a risk that there is something about the property you are not aware of. The history, it could be that it was resold in an unlawful way, or this seller is not the actual owner of the property. And in a different country, I would think it's a bit risky to try to handle this yourself. So you probably, a safer way would be engaging a lawyer. and such cases. And in Ukraine, there were there are some stories. So we have some history of projects that were the construction started but never finished because the developers were not conscientious enough to finish those. They ran out of money or resources, and these buildings have never been finished. And this is something that is hard to check for a foreigner and without partners, without lawyers who have more experience in this case. And we can go through when it comes to developers, through the contracts, through the agreements that they offer. So definitely a safer option would be engaging a lawyer. Perhaps someone has enough competence and feels confident dealing and going through all the agreements himself or herself, then this is always up to you. But we are there to help should you require our help.
And maybe some additional information. We can compare this with an insurance. Yeah? If you don't have any insurance, it can be no problem for you. But when it happens, it can be really tough.
And I'd like to add that in this question, we should consider the final goal of the purchasing of real estate or property. Because if an investor purchases it for himself, for private goal, it's one thing. And if he wants to do business to get the profit, then it's another question. So I again agree with my colleagues.
Thank you very much. And the next question is addressed to both DLF and First Dnipro Investment Company. And the question is the following. Do you have any commercial offers for projects in Dnipro? What are they? Maybe you can tell us where are the best areas to invest or buy property.
I think in that case, we cannot help you with some useful information. We are talking about the city Dnipro, yeah? And I think we have the most of inquiries comes related to Kyiv, Odesa, and Lviv. Yeah, sometimes, of course, we check other properties in other cities, but I wouldn't recommend some construction company in Dnipro.
It's just that usually it happens in a bit of different way. We don't suggest companies, we don't suggest properties. Investors go through the properties, they know better what kind of property they are looking for and where and for which purpose. And they select an appropriate property, and then they come to us and ask us to check if everything is okay, if it's safe to buy this property, to invest in it. So I guess we could help find some properties in particular cities, but this is a different question for a different discussion, and maybe in a different format via email or WhatsApp, and yeah, we could discuss such services, but we would have to know what the plans are. Maybe Dmitro has some suggestions as to
Unfortunately, my project located in Kyiv and the Kyiv region, so I can't help also.
So there are websites in Ukraine where you can check property available in each particular city or region and find the property that best suits your criteria, best suits your preferences, and then proceed from that.
Thank you very much for your remarks. And the next question is also to DLF. Should the investor establish a company and register the properties in the name of the company, or is it possible to register the properties in the name of foreign individuals?
Both is possible, and it's really possible. It's possible. We have already shared our Q&A real estate in Ukraine, and we have answered 30 questions, and this information you can find in written in our Q&A. But in that case, I would add that if the individual has at least $100,000 and is ready to buy real estate in Ukraine, we would suggest to register an LLC in Ukraine to transfer money to the authorized capital, obtain an immigration permit. After that, the investor can obtain a permanent residence permit and use this $100,000 for purchasing real estate. Yeah. And we have already described it. You can really find all that steps, all that explanations in our file. But both is possible. Yeah.
So again, it depends on the aim of the purchase, of the purpose of the purchase. If you are buying a property as a vacation home for you to stay there in Ukraine and to use it personally or to be used by some relatives of yours, and you're not planning on renting it, then it's probably the best option to register the apartment or the residential property in your name. But if you intend to rent it, in any case, you will have, at the moment, we don't have this procedure for direct rent as mentioned during the presentation. So you will need this tax agent, and an LLC in this case will be your tax agent, and you will be, in this case, you will solve like two issues. You will be able to purchase real estate and to use the property. And if it happens that you have funds available, you can also get a permanent residence permit.
Thank you very much. And last but not least question, are there additional taxes on owning real estate for foreigners?
I wouldn't say for foreigners, but we have taxes for real estate, but it is difficult to explain you how it is charged. Yeah, but I can say all that taxes are really small when we are talking about real estate taxes. When we are talking about taxes for renting apartments, yeah, it can be paid 5% of the income. Yeah, and if the investor is registered as a private entrepreneur. But the first tax for real estate is really small. It's not big, really. We are talking in that case maybe, and the limit is 60 square meters for apartments and 120 meters for houses, buildings, and under this size, yeah, you are not obliged to pay any taxes.
So what Ihor was saying, that if you own property with a total area less than 600 square meters, then you are not subject to additional taxes on property. Only over 600 meters for residential property, there's a tax, but the amount is not really significant.
Thank you very much. Seems like we don't have questions anymore. And all I have to say is just what a prolific and interactive discussion we had today, didn't we? I would like to thank everybody who contributed to our workshop, and I'm sure that the relevant information we have heard today will lay a solid foundation for future highly beneficial projects. And for sure, we will continue this great tradition of holding B2B meetings, negotiations between Ukrainian and Kuwaiti stakeholders, as well as bridging our friendly countries. After all, this is our noble mission to represent, protect, and promote Ukrainian Kuwait. And lastly, to wrap up our meeting, I invite Dr. Oleksandr Balanutsa to take the floor with closing remarks.
Thank you, Ola, so much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I cannot find probably the best words to express my thanks for, first of all, the dear speakers that invested so much of their time and efforts to put together those presentations and video and explanations, as well as the timing of our respected guests and friends who were listening to us for an hour and a half. I was myself taking notes within these presentations, and just to emphasize what Mr. Ihor and Ms. Kristina was saying, that they're offering the legal support and well-structured businesses as the various options in the juice of the capital of Ukraine, as well as when Dmitry was representing FIDC, with no credit obligations working projects, with the exactly unbelievable water supply in the villa which you buy, and a swimming in the mineral waters. It is really difficult to imagine that you can have it all in Ukraine. But we could not have this event fully without the support of the DLF attorneys at law. Myself and Mr. Ihar, we've been discussing this project for the last 4 months. We've been using the facilities and efforts of the designers to put together the beautiful pictures and the codes and everything. And with Mr. Dmitry, we've been discussing what exactly to show in regards of the FDIC project. And I'm very happy that we put together this as something fruitful. And the number of questions which we had, the interest which we have seen is really amazing. Now, as I mentioned, we will analyze all the context and we will provide all the participants' contact details to our 2 speakers group, to DLF attorneys at law and the First Need for Investment Company. They will have direct contacts that they can directly address the participants, and also will provide the details and presentations and videos of those companies that we have heard to our speaker, to our respectable guests, and they will have to analyze it once again and ask direct questions to Dmitry and to Ihar and Christina. With us, we will definitely thank the Chamber of Commerce of Kuwait for being with us always as a partner. I would like to wave them, we're close by, with all our hearts. Guys, it was really an honor for me to participate. Mr. Ivan Sihera, who was supporting us with the chat, and he was doing extremely intensive, tenuous work to put together this 400 emails everywhere back and forth. And Ms. Olga, who was moderating our event with all these exact phrases. Thank you so much, guys, for your time, for efforts. It's always a pleasure, and we will continue. We're just getting started. Thank you so much.
Take care, and may the force always be with you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.